Hi there, I'm going to do a short video about a headlight upgrade I'm going to do on the motorcycle. These are the auxiliary driving lights I'm going to be fitting. Got two of them, bought them off a guy called Commie straight out of Hong Kong recently. They're priced at $113. Came to £73.11 delivered to the door, paid no import duty. Most people have heard of halogen. They've been the benchmark for probably the past 20-30 years. HID more recently become very popular, but these are high power LEDs, very distinctive front to them. They've got some advantage over LEDs and halogen. The manufacturer claims approximately 1500 lumens of power, which is equivalent to a 55 watts halogen bulb, and they'll basically light up instantly, whereas the HID ones take probably about 5 to 10 seconds to reach full power. Quite looking forward to fitting these. It should make quite a nice difference. Made of quite a nice finished aluminium, and got a little heat exchange sink thing on the back here, and a stainless steel dog leg mount. Looks like it's fairly well made really, and for the price I can't complain. So I've got two of these, and these also come in the box. The box incidentally was very well packaged. These 1 inch just regular clamp rings for mounting to handlebars. Would be pretty good if you had an off-roader, but on my bike there's no room with the rest of the controllers, so I'm not going to be using these. You also get two of these type of do-it-yourself waterproof connectors. You probably recognise that these are the same type that you get on HID kits when you install them. So again, I probably won't use both of these because I want to try and cut down on the amount of plugs on the bike, so I'll be soldering the ends of the wires to each other and running the wire back to the power source, and probably soldering it there again. As far as mounting is concerned, I got this from Chainspeed, which is advertised as a Hawk lighting kit, light mounting kit I should say. It is in the instructions it says SW Motec, and this cost £29 and some pennies, again delivered from Chainspeed. So quite looking forward to popping these on the bike. Should make it relatively easy to fit. Okay, so I've got the lights mounted on the bar. I've got them connected up for a quick test onto a computer power supply. Give them a quick test. Instant on, just like halogens, and unlike the HID, so it should be good for flashing, whereas your full beam HID isn't. Seems to be plenty bright considering it's daylight outside and the house lights are on. These should be putting out, like I said, 55 watts, equivalent to 55 watts halogens each, so I should be gaining 2 car headlights in brightness. The problem that I had on the bike was that when riding at night, the converted HID beam, although it had the power and it threw the light far enough down the road, the beam pattern was very narrow, and as soon as you hit a corner at high speed you're riding into a dark abyss, which is quite a scary experience. So the idea is I'm going to point each of these to the right and the left of the full beam, and hopefully give me some vision around the corner when I'm riding into it. So these should be quite a good addition to the existing lighting setup that I've got. Look forward to getting them on and giving them a test. I like the way they come on instantly, unlike the HIDs. Fantastic. Okay, so this is the final installed result. I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. The bar keeps the lights mounted pretty tight into the fairing and out of the way. It's about as high as you can mount them. Also, 2 mounting bolts that they come to is inside the fairing, just here, the 2 lower bolts. Got my finger on it now, it's just slightly out of view. To mount it you need to remove this panel on the side, obviously on both sides, to get to the mounting bolt. The bracket made it a pretty easy install, so pretty happy with that. Both wires are about 2 foot long on the spots and soldered together. The route that I chose was down the right hand side, following the standard loom of the bike, so I had to remove this panel here, obviously to mount the mounting bars, remove this panel on both sides, and also this one so that I could lift the tank a little bit to get access to the wiring harness. So I basically tacked on the wiring harness, which goes down here along the inside of the frame. The standard wiring harness is just in there, you can just about see it. With the tank lifted, I managed to clip on the 3 wires, which is the 2 wires for the spots and the trigger for the relay, and then it follows the inside of the frame along here, and you can see that the harness is down here. You can see the 2 wires here for the actual spots, that's the power, and the white, which is a trigger, going all the way to the back and coming out here by the side of the battery into a 5-pole relay. 4-pole will do, basically it's the same wiring, but you leave one of the poles disconnected. The trigger comes from the full beam, which is on this side, on this bike. You can't see it too well, but if you remove the cover, you can splice into the socket that connects the power to the headlight bulb, and the wire comes straight out of there through the bottom grommet, so it's nice and watertight, and again follows the loom. You can just see the white wire disappearing down out of sight there. So I've wired these up so that they come on with the standard full beam headlight, which is pretty poor and a little bit too narrow, so this gives a fatter beam and a wider view round corners. At night it's very disconcerting when you're riding into a dark abyss. This should light up the corner quite a bit better. I don't know if you can see, but the spots are mounted slightly outboard. That's so that it complements the full beam, making the beam a little bit brighter. So let's see the operation of the lights. No lights at the minute. That's the low beam coming on, and with full beam the spotlights come on instantly. Due to the engine not running, the low beam flickered a little bit. That's due to voltage drop. So these are pretty damn bright looking lights. Quite looking forward for nightfall and giving them a test. So I'll come back in a few hours and show you the difference at night. But overall pretty happy with the install. Okay, so finally we have nightfall. Gonna test the headlights. This is HID dipped beam, just switching them on now. Takes a couple of seconds to illuminate. Going for HID high beam. Couple of seconds to illuminate. See that just starting to come on now. And with the auxiliary lights, the LEDs, switching them on. Wait for the LEDs to, wait for the HID to build up. That HID is on about maximum now, and just switching the LEDs on now. If I can find the, there we go. Bit of disco lights, but that's the LEDs on now with the high beam HID, 50 watts on HID and 35 for the dipped. That's the dipped off, and the main beam and the LEDs off. I'm going to try and go for a ride now.